Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to fix the door sensor on your BMW E46. The first thing that you're going to want to do is remove this door lock actuator from the vehicle, and then you will see right in here there's this little lever that moves up and down. Mine's going to look a little bit different because I've already cut into it, but basically this little lever moves up and down, and that's how the vehicle knows when the door is open and closed. What happens is this little Hall effect sensor right here breaks off from the connections right here, and the car will no longer read a signal. This little magnet right here, that is typically seated in the lever right here, and that is basically what the Hall effect sensor is reading. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is get yourself a pair of pliers, and there will be this piece of metal sitting right here. Basically you can just bend it up, bend it back and forth, and snap it off. Once you've removed that, you can then take a soldering iron and start to melt away the plastic around these contacts. Need to be careful because this pin right here is pretty thin, and you don't want to break that off the PCB. So next you're going to want to solder the Hall effect sensor back in place. I'm going to solder mine on the back of the PCB. I guess it's not really a PCB, it looks to be just like a metal cutout, but I don't think it's going to make a difference, and it's going to make it a lot easier to solder this thing in place. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I just brought the door lock module out to the car and I plugged it in. I'm just going to verify that the Hall effect sensor is soldered in correctly and it's working. So to do that, I'm just going to take this little magnet, a pair of tweezers here, and if you move the magnet in front of the Hall effect sensor, you should hear the doors or the window actuate like that. Okay, now that we have verified that the Hall effect sensor is working again, I'm just going to go ahead and fortify it using some of this, it's called Zap-A-Gap. I can use that, and also there's this zip kicker. It's basically just like a catalyst or something to make the glue harden in place. And we want to do that so that these little pins going to the Hall effect sensor don't get work hardened and end up breaking off again like they did before. So I will do that and then reconvene. Okay, so I have the Hall effect sensor glued back in place. It doesn't look the greatest, but I hooked it up to the car and verified that it was working. So now all we need to do is put the door lock module back in the car. So just a little disclaimer on this video. This may or may not be your problem. If it is, it's a very tedious process. You might end up completely ruining the door lock module. So attempt it at your own risk.